Well, today marks the 60th anniversary of the riot that broke out at the Missouri State Penitentiary.
Ryan Rumbaugh joins us live with a look at where it all took place.
Good morning, guys. Yes, I'm at the Missouri State Penitentiary this morning and learning a lot about the riot of 1954. I'm here this morning with Mark. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, you remember the riot happening. Tell me about your personal experience.
Well, we just moved here from Springfield, Missouri about 2 weeks before the riot. I was in the 3rd grade, and I remember hearing all the sirens all night long and the fires and then all the activity the next day, and the next day seeing airplanes flying overhead, kept circling the prison, so it was quite an exciting thing for a 3rd grader back then.
Yeah, and then you ended up working here.
I did. I started here in 1968 and then later went to the sheriff and the prosecutor's office where I was the chief investigator, but I did work the crimes in here, and then later came back and ended up being the last deputy warden to serve here, deputy warden of operations.
Very cool. Now, where are we standing right now?
Right now we're in the control center lobby, and this was pretty much the nerve center of the institution. So as far as the movement of the offenders and things like that at the time of the 54 riot and right up until the time we closed in 2004, this is where the great deal of activity took place.
Okay, and you said there's some offices back here and the control center right here?
Yes, control center bubbles right here, and the officer would have actually opened and closed the gates all around. You never would have seen the gates left open.
Yeah.
So
you had to do that for us this morning to get in here.
Had to do that for you this morning, and then the prison hospital was down here, so whenever people were injured in the 54 riot, they would have been brought right through here and taken over the prison hospital to be treated.
You said another area over here is where I, as a reporter, would have come through.
Right, and where the administration building would have been, which is, of course, gone now up here at Lafayette and State. Well, everyone would have come in the front door. They would have come through a series of gates, and that would have included the law enforcement officers at the time of the 54 riot, and eventually then they would have come down this corridor and right through this door right here.
Okay, so a busy area.
Very busy.
I'm sure this was really busy during the riot.
It absolutely was. I've got a lot of photographs that show activity in here, including some of the wounded inmates being carried through here. I've got a photo right here of Colonel Hugh Wagner, the Highway Patrol, who was over all the patrol, and then one of Lieutenant Governor James T. Blair standing right here. So there was a whole lot of things going on in this area.
Yeah, and this is where tours begin, correct?
This is where the tours begin. Yes, all the tourists come in here, both for the history tours and for the ghost tours, and they are basically given some information to kind of acclimate them to the prison, and then we move on to other buildings from this location.
Yeah, and you give those history tours, and
I do.
I was speaking to one of the other workers. The ghost tours are booked up through October. That'd be pretty fun to go to for Halloween.
It would be fun, yeah.
I've got my own little personal ghost tour. It's a little eerie in here this morning.
It is, and I tell everybody I dealt with the abnormal, not the paranormal, so that's why I do the history tours, but, you know, it's still something that's a draw, and people like it, so I think that's what's important.
Yeah, well, this is really cool. In a little bit when we come back, we're going to move out to cell block A, right?
That's correct.
Ooh, so it's a little creepy out there, too. So we'll catch back with you guys in just a little bit.
So much history there.
Oh, definitely.
I've been here
it's
almost
a fascinating place.
I've been here almost 2 years, and I still haven't been to the penitentiary yet. So
need
this
to
is
do
the
that.
year. We'll go together, Dick. We'll go together.
Okay. On September 22nd, 1954, prisoners at the Missouri State Penitentiary rioted, but no one was able to escape.
Ryan Rumbaugh joins us live from the penitentiary 60 years later.
Good morning, guys. Yes, I am live at the Missouri State Penitentiary. A little creepy this morning, but it's all in the name of history. I'm here this morning with Mark. Good morning.
Good morning.
A little creeped out today. It's okay, though. And you're not doing much to help either. You're creeping all of us out.
Well, you all were just easy, that's all. That's, you know, that really bothered me
Every couple minutes he goes, did you see that? Did you see that? Teasing us all morning. Now, where are we at right now?
We're in A Hall, later called Housing Unit 4, but at the time of the 54 riot, this was A Hall. And this is the oldest existing building here. It opened in 1868, and it was built with inmate labor.
Yeah, and now what is it used for?
Well, now this is one of the main buildings where we give the prison tours. You can see the seating behind us, and we bring all the guests in here, and we go over a great deal of the how the prison evolved and how the history evolved in this building.
Okay, so set the scene. You know, it's 1954, the day of the riot. What's this place like?
This place was actually horrific. This building was extremely overcrowded. In fact, from the Truman Commission report that came out about the riot, there were 744 men in this building, and it was operated by just one officer.
Wow.
In fact, one of the findings in their final report was that one of the main inmates here, one of the trustees, allegedly trustees, actually had a key to the front door here, and he slept with it under his pillow.
Oh.
And that's a direct quote. So they described this building as far as the number of men, 4, 5, and 6 men per cell, as being deplorable.
I can't believe that. Now, it's a little dark in here for us to get our cameras in the cell, but these cells are not big. I mean, I think it would be crammed for 2 people.
Well, that's true, but actually these cells are bigger than in some of the other housing units. But to have that many people, and they actually slept on mattresses that were stuffed with straw.
Oh, sounds
and in '54, the temperature was extremely hot and extremely dry, so it had to be absolutely miserable in here.
Yeah, maybe a little reason why they rioted, maybe?
That certainly didn't help conditions at all, no.
Now, you said that this block was a lot of African-American inmates,
Correct.
right?
That's correct.
So you said a lot of them didn't riot?
Yeah, one of the things they had in the report was that a big percentage of the African-American inmates did not participate in the riots. So the prison population at the time was about 3,361, somewhere around there. And I would say probably out of that group, there were probably around 850 to 900 people that did participate in the riot. And it actually started in a building just over your shoulder behind you, which would have been Old E Hall. And that's where the riot started, of course, in the evening of September 22nd, 1954.
Lots of history here this morning at the State Penitentiary. When we come back, we're going to move around a little bit, check out a different building here. But for now, we'll send it back to you guys.
Hopefully Ryan gets out.
Yes, I did think I saw a shadowy figure walking behind her, so Ryan, you're going to want to watch your back in there.
Well, 60 years ago today, prisoners at the Missouri State Penitentiary rioted and caused up to $5 million in damage.
Ryan Rumbaugh joins us live with a look at where it all happened.
Good morning, guys. Yes, I'm at the Missouri State Penitentiary and learning a lot about what happened in 1954. I'm here this morning with Mark. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, where are we at now? So we were in the control center, right? First.
Correct.
Then A
Hall.
A Hall.
Yes.
And now where are we?
And now we're in B and C Hall.
Okay. And what happened here? Just kind of set the scene in 1954. What was going on?
Well, in 1954, when the riot took place, of course, it started September 22nd, today's date, and it started between 6 and 6:30 in the evening. And some of the ringleaders eventually made their way over into this building because death row was located downstairs.
Yeah, a little creepy down there. Very dark.
Yeah, very dark.
I'm not gonna go down there this morning. I don't think so. At least the sun's up. But anyway, so they broke in here to target two
They
guys,
had two
right?
inmates targeted. One was a fellow named Jimmy Creighton, and another one was a fellow by the name of Walter Lee Donnell. And of course, they had testified against some of the ringleaders and against some other inmates on the outside. And so they wanted to get to them. And so they broke their way, forced their way through a wall downstairs. And when they got back to the last 2 cells where these men were housed, they were able to kill Walter Lee Donnell. But Jimmy Creighton blocked his cell with debris and various things like that, and they weren't able to get into his cell. So this was the cell block where the riot actually ended, for the most part, on September 23rd, the next day.
Okay, so it lasted that long.
It lasted about 18 hours, but it was, of course, chaos for some period of time because you had all kinds of inmates in various cells that didn't belong there.
Right.
You had huge fires inside the prison, about $4 or $5 million worth of buildings, factory buildings, and some of the services buildings like the chapel and school and places like that were totally destroyed.
Yeah, so right now we're kind of in the atrium area.
We're in the atrium.
Explain to me what's behind us back here.
Behind us, that would actually be the cell house itself.
Okay.
And of course, all these were basically what you call lever box housing units, which meant that the officers had to operate the levers manually. So they would have been on that side, every single walk going all the way up and down. And then, of course, in front of us as well would have been a cell block.
Yeah, well, this is all so interesting. So you do a lot of tours here, history tours.
Yes, I do.
So is this the kind of stuff that you guys do on the tours, walk through here?
We do. We don't bring people up to this level because of some safety concerns. The rails are pretty short, but we do bring them in here because in this building, interestingly enough, Pretty Boy Floyd came in here in 1925 and did time in this building. And then James Earl Ray, of course, who was responsible for the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he actually was housed in this building for a period of time.
Wow, lots of history. Well, I got to thank you for having us this morning. This was so cool getting to walk all around here. And actually, later on tonight, we're going to show Kermit Miller. He did a story, I think, maybe 10 years ago. And we're going to show that story tonight, too. So
great.
Lots of walks down memory lane here.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you again. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Brian found herself a captive audience there, I think.
Yes, she did.